The first one is know your why. Know your why. My why was simple. I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to retake those papers again. In my country, every time you fail and retake the bar exam, you have to pay some money, and I'm pretty sure this is true for everybody else. Every time you retake something, you have to pay some money. I didn't want that to happen, so it was monetary. Secondly, I wanted to pass it in one go because I don't like studying. I actually don't like studying, so I don't want to do it more than I have to. So if I failed it once, then I'd have to go through the whole preparation process again, which was just mad to me. I don't want to do that. And then other reasons like, okay, I want to be proud of myself. Okay, I want to get more job opportunities, etc. Whatever, anything that really matters to you. Oh, another thing was my family, like my parents. They were paying for my education, so I didn't want to mess around. So that's another big why for me, right? So you have to get crystal clear on your why. And I always say it doesn't matter what your why is. It doesn't matter if it seems very petty or very weird, or like just you're trying to level up and see how disciplined you are. I don't care what your why is, as long as it motivates you and gets you to do what you need to do. The second thing is know yourself. Know yourself. I had to know myself very, very well. When I was sitting down for the 8 hours, the reason I did Pomodoro method is because I knew my mind will wander. If I just said I'm just studying, inevitably I would do something else. So Pomodoro method was good for me, but not the stereotypical one. I had to do the 50-minute one with 1 hour break, because 25 minutes is too short for me. If I keep interrupting my study sessions, it will get me out of the focused mode. So I had to know myself very clearly. I also had to know that in order for this thing to be easy, for me to study 8 hours a day very easily, I had to remove temptations. I couldn't just allow myself to watch movies, to go out and have the usual fad, because it would distract me from my studies for that 1.5 months or 2 months. It would distract me. I would want to do other things when I'm studying, right? So if I had the opportunity to be on TikTok, the opportunity to use social media, the opportunity to be chilling and talking with my friends, I would get distracted because I know myself. So I had put certain things that I was allowed to do during that phase, like for entertainment, like Candy Crush, which I find interesting but not interesting enough to stay hours and hours doing. I did other things like that. I've talked about it in the previous video, right? And then finally, you have to know your enemy. Know your enemy. Know the exam you're going to do. Know the thing that you're going to do. Like, for example, at first, I thought it would just be enough to attend my classes and, study intermittently, like a few hours a day. Okay, not study during the day, but I did attend all my classes and take notes and then review the notes. But I found out that this bar exam was a lot bigger than I thought. It had a lot more content than I had anticipated, and I knew this by going through the previous exams, the past papers, and I was like, no, I won't be ready if I just keep doing my protocols, my system 2. I always talk about my, not system 2, but level 2 of habits and systems. It won't be enough, so I had to do something extra, which was the 1 month, 1.5, 2 months of intense 8 hours a day study. Okay, the 8 hours strictly was 1 month, and then the other month I was doing 4 hours, 6 hours, depending on how I felt, whether I was ready for the exam. And I also knew that we had to do well in our oral exams and our group work, which is part of our final marks for the bar exam. So I made sure those things were also on point. So studying for the bar is not the way I studied when I was in university campus. There I could just study 1 week before and I'd be fine. I'd be able to pass the paper. But that is not what this was called for. So I had to know what was coming, right? So those are the 3 things you need to know. You need to know it very clearly in order to do well in whatever big thing that that is coming up for you, right? So here, let's answer some questions, some practical examples from Reddit. Here, this person is saying, I can't focus to study at all. So, as the title prompts, I can't focus on studying. I just keep thinking about other stuff, doing other stuff rather than studying. I'm even making this post now when I have a big test tomorrow. This sounds like me when I was in first year. I would know that there's a test coming up and then go and watch an 100-episode anime like, Dragon Ball Z or One Piece. And I'm being real. The exam is the next day. Okay? Procrastination. This is why knowing your why is important. Okay? Because, listen, I was not very clear in first year what I wanted and why I was doing what I was doing. So such things were acceptable. I didn't want necessarily very good grades. So I just wanted to pass the exam. So when I sat down to study, I wasn't very urgent about it, and that's why things could distract me from it. But now, when I was doing the bar exam, I had a big why, because I was like, no, this isn't my identity. I need to pass this exam in one go, okay? I need to make up for my undergraduate nonsense and show these people that I'm not to be messed with and that I can actually do something when I put my mind to it, right? And I was getting older, my career was getting, it's getting real now. So my why was very clear than when I was in first year, when I was just from high school, right? So knowing your why is very important. This person should get crystal clear on what it is they want. The fact that you can procrastinate the day before is probably because you've given up. I used to do that a lot. When you give up and you don't think you can, study well enough, you're gonna procrastinate. Secondly, if you're system 2, I always talk about your second level of identity shifting, which is your habit and systems. If your systems have disintegrated, that you don't have your content to study before the exam, you don't have a clear picture of what is coming, you don't know your enemy very well, you don't know the exam, you don't know what is likely to come, you don't know the content, it's just you've never interacted with it well enough. This also leads to procrastination because your brain isn't dumb. They're like, oh no, this is a giant and we've not even started studying. So you'll probably do things to avoid it because it's stressful. Like, I have so much content I haven't studied, so let's just give up. But if you have systems, like for me, whenever I took notes in class, I took it with the intention of the exam. So even if like the exam was tomorrow, if I went through my notes, and the notes are not big, like a notebook like this, right? I knew that I would at least be ready for the exam because my notes were taken in a way that I know I have the exam in mind, right? So this person probably needs, 1, to know their why, 2, and they need to sort out their system so that next time they're not caught unawares and feel very stressed during this time. And then the funny thing is the reply, somebody was really like triggered by this. Somebody had replied like, I recently had an interesting stuff from Neil Gaiman. He suggested turning off your phone and sitting in front of your task. Even if you procrastinate, sooner or later you will get so bored staring at the window. So doing your task will become the most exciting thing in the world. He's a Nobel winner, so give it a try. I did this without even knowing, like, this guy is right, because I told you, remove the temptations. If you're gonna study 8 hours a day, but you have temptations all over you, you're just making it hard on yourself. You can make it easy. It gets to be easy by making it easier, removing the temptations. So for me, that was just saying, it's not saying that, no, you can't have any entertainment. It's just saying that you can have boring entertainment. You can have Candy Crush and classical music. That's entertainment enough. You can go for walks. But the things that are really addictive and, they give you that high, no, those ones are completely out of the picture. So I get what this guy is saying. So sometimes I wouldn't feel like studying, but then again, I wouldn't feel like playing Candy Crush, and then I wouldn't just feel like listening to classical music for hours and hours. So I would just end up studying. Because, like, what do I have to do for fun? Listen to classical music the whole day. I mean, it's fun, but I can't do it the whole day. So I'd just end up studying. So this is so right. But then somebody else gets triggered by his comment. He's like, I bet Neil Gaiman is nicely paid for all the things he does, but no one will pay me for the A+ essay on parenting styles and theory of choice. This is the hidden motivation that might highly affect all of us while studying. I'm kind of depressed because I don't see how some of the classes that I spend time for will bring me any success in the future. This was me as well. This was me when I was trying to avoid studying. I used to have perfect excuses like, this won't help us in future, because I know I haven't studied. When I studied, I was ready for the exam, like, let's go, I have motivation, let's go, ace that exam. When I was super ready for my finals in high school, and I knew I'm gonna ace this, and I did ace it, by the way, I was like, let's go. But when I was in campus and I was messing around and I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing, I would always be like, these things aren't even going to help us. What the hell is critical thinking? Of course, critical thinking is going to help you, but because I was stressed and because I hadn't done what was required of me and because I wasn't ready, I would say things to comfort myself. This person is venting because, they're probably not ready for their exam. Because if you were ready, you wouldn't feel that way. Another thing is, it may not help you now, then leave, right? And a certain comment below just tells them, if you don't want to be in school, then go start a business. And they get so mad, they're like, you can't start a business. I was like, you see, that's the thing. Somebody who wants to vent, who hasn't taken responsibility for their lives, will always have an excuse. They can't hear what you're saying. Yeah? That's why my work and personal development is for people actually who are past that whole victim mentality. They've matured past that child mindset, and now they're self-aware and taking responsibility for their life. Those are the easiest people to have personal development work for them. Somebody who's like a go-getter and they're willing to do what it takes, they just need like the proper direction, right? If when I learned the tips, like I really wanted to do what it takes and I was doing it, but like not efficiently enough. When I learned the proper methods, it was easy for me to put it into action. So I'm gonna stop there because I don't want this video to go on too long. But if you're interested in making your systems really concrete and airtight and priming yourself, right? Priming yourself to be an achieving person, and check out my affirmation manifestation e-journal. It's in the description as always, and I hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Bye.